It's the Brad and John Show.
It's the Brad and John Show. Today's date is the 12th of March. Can you believe we're going to have two Friday 13ths in a row as far as months go? We had one last month. We're going to have one this month. Is that unusual, John, or what? Hold on. I didn't turn you on. Go ahead and say it again.
I said, I think it's super lucky. I think we should all go to a gas station, a gasino, and we should play some sports electronics machines.
A casino. I love that. Okay. In the B block, what do we do, John?
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
It is. And what do we start with?
It's number 3.
I'm going to call an audible here. I'm going to rejigger my lists here because of the fact that I'm going to change things around. I heard this early this morning. Karoline Leavitt, okay? Do you know what she's on the warpath about right now as far as...
Oh, no. What is it?
Well, they're calling... What are they calling the guy, the senator from Texas, who is the... this is...
John Cornyn?
No, the other guy, Thune, okay?
Ed Cruz?
No, Thune. He's the...
Oh, Thune, yeah, he's not from Texas.
I thought he was from Texas, no? Wasn't he?
No,
Not from Texas?
South Dakota.
Okay, South Dakota. Okay, you heard what they're calling him now.
What's his name?
They're calling him Senator Buffoon because...
Oh, because it rhymes with Thune.
Yeah, and he's not working to get the SAVE Act passed. Okay, so I love or hate Karoline Leavitt. I about fell out of my car when she said this because to me, this is so funny. And I can't remember exactly how she said it, but this goes back 2 or 3 weeks. Remember they had the big snowstorm in New York? And remember,
yeah, they're a big one.
And remember Madami was asking for people to come shovel snow and you would be employed by the city. But remember what the requirement was? Do you remember this story?
No, what was it?
The requirement was, he actually said this. These words came out of his mouth. In order for you to be hired by the city of New York to shovel snow, you had to have a valid picture ID and proof of citizenship. Now,
yeah, I do remember that. Okay.
Think about that for a minute. So she says, and I can't remember exactly how she said it, but it was very well crafted. She says, in a country that the governor or the mayor of New York will require you to have a picture ID and proof of citizenship in the shovel snow, why don't you have to have that to vote? And that's what the whole SAVE Act is about, the whole thing. And she said it so eloquently, I can't even say the word. It just caught me is one of those things, and you think about that. It's like we get in this whole crazy thing with the ID. You know, I have to tell you something, John. I shipped something UPS. I went to a UPS store week before last. I had to give them my driver's license to ship something. Now think about that for a minute. How does that make any sense? Why do I have to show my driver's license to send a package at the UPS store?
Well, because that's not a fundamental right of citizenship, is sending a UPS package, and a private entity can require you to show an ID. Your point's well taken, Brad, and you've made a point dozens of times on this show of the security measures at local hospitals.
Right.
And you even volunteer at most hospitals to get a free digital prostate exam. In fact, you require it of the chick working at the front desk.
Okay, I want the digital ones because the analog ones really hurt. Let me tell you that.
They do. You prefer an all zeros and ones, don't you?
Right. Zeros and ones are better than analog. Okay, ready for number 2?
Yes, sir.
It's time for Brad's number 2.
Okay, you've seen this. I know this is on a bunch of different websites this morning. I will look at the STL PR version of it. Former Florissant cop gets 2 years for stealing intimate photos during traffic stops. This guy's going to prison for 2 years. Now, John, why is it that we have, and look, I'm not condoning what he did, but I think was horrible. But why do we have guys who are taking nude pictures off of women's drivers or with their phones, which once again, I don't condone, I think was a horrible thing.
Once again.
How come he's going to the slammer for 2 years and you have these guys who get arrested in the city all the time and, you know, they get arrested and they never go to jail? Why is that, John?
Well, let's start with, for anybody who doesn't know, when we just say a Florissant guy was arrested for stealing photos, how did this police officer get access to these women's photos?
What he was doing was, which is very common now, a lot of people have their driver's license, not their driver's license, their insurance card on their phone. And apparently what he was asking them, he was saying, just give me your phone and I'll go back to my squad car and I'll take the information and put it into the computer, because they all have computers in their squad cars now. But he was going back to his car to go through their phone and look at their photos in their phone. And apparently then he was, I think, was he actually texting the pictures to himself? Wasn't that what he was doing?
He may have sent them to himself, or he may have captured them on his own device. I'm not sure.
Right, one of the two. He's either shooting them with his own phone. He's holding, his phone up against their screen and taking a picture of it, or he's actually texting or emailing the photos to his phone number. And the interesting thing about this is, I'm going to tell you something, John. People are going to be upset with me when I say this. Have you seen a picture of this guy?
I have, yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, if you were a gay guy and you were saying, oh, I give him what would you say?
11.
I couldn't agree with you more.
I mean, he's a handsome guy, right? But again, and let's pause for just 1 second. That doesn't mean that he wouldn't be kind of creepy about stealing pictures,
But he's the kind, I don't know if he's married or not. And then what's his name? Alcala.
Yeah, it's some sort of a Hispanic or Latino name.
Julian Alcala, Alcala. He's a good-looking dude. I'm thinking to myself, some women go for that man in uniform kind of thing, you know what I'm saying?
I get exactly what you're saying.
And he's a good-looking man in uniform. He's not like a schlub, like when I used to be
like a typical porker. Or when you used to be a dispatcher, you dealt with a lot of porkers.
Well, I was a porker. I weighed 310 pounds when I was a dispatcher.
And sorry to interrupt, Brad, but I think this goes to show that this guy's deal probably wasn't, he probably didn't have a challenge having intimate relations with women he chose. I'm guessing part of it was the thrill of, if you pull over 10 women, 9 of them are overweight or public eyesores, and the 1 out of every 10 that's attractive, you get some sort of a thrill of taking your phone back to your car and seeing images that you're quote unquote not supposed to see. And I'm guessing it's the taboo nature of seeing what you're not supposed to see and getting away with it that was the real thrill.
I guess. I don't know. I just read something. I read down the article here. Let me read this real quick. The FBI began investigating after one of the women realized a video she had taken had been transferred via the cloud. So apparently he did something with her phone where he transferred her or something like that. So apparently he was doing something where he was actually texting it, or maybe they had some. What's the thing that I don't use on iPhone?
It's called AirDrop.
AirDrop. Maybe he AirDropped or something like that. Okay. See, are you an AirDrop guy? Do you do that?
I am not. And in fact, I learned about it. I was in an event at work one time, and a woman told me, she took some pictures from her. It was like, I'll airdrop it to you. And I nodded my head as if I knew what she meant, and I had no idea. But apparently, and that's also key to a lot of phishing schemes, as I understand, is that people at public places like airports or stadiums will get a PIN. So my settings on my phone reject all airdrops. Like I have no one's going to airdrop me anything. So I'm not going to have some stranger airdrop me some sort of Indian phishing scam. You get what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. Okay, aviation nerd, here I am, Brad Hildebrand. Okay, there are videos online, and this is really aviation nerd stuff, of pilots who are flying pretty much cross-country, and this is commercial stuff, like in, the big airliners. They're flying cross-country, or they're flying transatlantic, trans-Pacific. And if a lot of times the planes will be very close to each other. I mean, not to the point where like they're going to crash into each other, and one of the things they do is the pilots will airdrop pictures back and forth between the other planes. The other pilots will airdrop them pictures. And and there's all sorts of videos on YouTube. You can watch this where I don't know how they coordinate this, but they go like, whoa, we just airdropped it 34,000 feet. That kind of stuff. But see.
Amazing. What an elite fraternity of pilots.
Right. It's better than the Mile High Club. Okay. Ready for number 1?
Yes, sir.
And now, big finish, Brad's number.
John, sometimes you poo-poo the things I'm going to talk about. Sometimes you don't let me talk about the things.
Bring it up, Brad. Are you having trouble loading it? Is that why you're filibustering? Speak more slow. Hey, Brad, can we sit through 6 commercials on your phone? Can you say this stupid phone, I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I update my phone, then everything's all messed up. Hold on, it's loading. Have you been injured? You know my law firm, Brown and Crouppen.
It is not loading. Okay, I can synopsize it off the top of my head because I read the entire article. John doesn't believe I read the entire articles. What is the military saying now that they're having frustrations with the Iranian people, John?
Does it have to do with drones?
It has to do with drones, but there is a two-word phrase that I have uttered many times in the show.
Oh, I know. I know what it is. You were a big fan of symmetrical warfare.
No, I am, well, no.
Because the way that we defeated the redcoats was we got our own blue coats and we lined up in formation and we shot at them. Brad, can you explain why you're such a big fan of symmetrical warfare?
They're talking about, and this is actually sad, the six of these 7 American soldiers who have been killed in this war, whatever you want to call it, were all killed in the same place by a drone. They were in a military base, I believe in Dubai or one of those other countries, and a drone hit them. Now, once again, these are the Shahed 136s. Okay, I've done my homework on this. Okay. And what Iran has been doing is they have doing flocks of drones. And this is the epitome of asymmetrical warfare. You send up a $30,000 drone, the Iranians do, and we shoot it down with a $4 million rocket, okay?
Why doesn't that make sense? Isn't that a good economic deal for us, Brad? Explain that.
No, it's a horrible economic deal, John.
Oh, okay.
Because of the fact that, and the problem with this is that when they send over like a flock of drones, wasn't there a group called Flock of Drones? No, that was Flock of Seagulls.
Anyway. I was just going to say, and they said I ran so far away. It's coming full circle.
You took my joke. I was going to say that.
I used it on our Instagram page 3 weeks ago. Go ahead, Brad.
Okay. See, now they're saying, well, this is where I think this is the thing that's somewhat frustrating to me. Now you're hearing the military saying, well, we're having some problems. And the problems are that they're not having problems with their F-15s or F-18s or F-16s. They're not having problems with the B-1s, the B-2s, or B-52s. They're having problems with the fact that they don't know how to defend. Well, they can't defend it properly. And this is my perfect example of this. And they're saying, the article talked about there's various ways, there's jamming techniques, and what they're working on is it's not ready for battlefield deployment yet, but they're working on energy devices like lasers and things like that. I watch these videos and I don't know how these guys do this. These are actually combat videos coming out of Ukraine. And they have the most amazing things they've come up with. Like, for example, there is now a shotgun shell. You ready for this, John? A shotgun shell that you can load into a standard 12-gauge shotgun. And the shotgun shell has a net that comes out. And it has 2 weights on it. So it has, when you fire the shotgun shell, it has to be relatively close range as these drones come in. But keep in mind, the drones are not moving fast. They're not like the missiles that are doing like hundreds of miles an hour, or even thousands of miles an hour, Mach 2, Mach 3, some of these missiles move at. These are drones that are doing like 80, 90, 100 miles an hour. And they're shooting shotgun shells at it with a net that comes out and it ties up the rotors on the drone and the thing crashes. How come we don't have that? You know what I'm saying, John?
Yeah, I'm surprised that now, as far as we know, we don't have that. Now, Brad, you've been surely duped before by AI videos. Is this supposed shotgun Scooby-Doo type mechanism, is this real, or was this something that someone put into one of your AI things and you fell for it?
No, the reason I know this, and once again, I'm a nerd in a lot of things. I'm a firearms nerd, okay? There's a young guy, and if anybody who's on the internet will know who this guy is, I can't remember his name. He's a good-looking young guy, probably looks like he's 25. And all he does is he does YouTube shorts. That's all he does, YouTube shorts. And he has an ad on there that you can buy ammo from this company and stuff like that. And he tests all these things, and I saw him test this. He actually said, don't ask me how I got a hold of one of these, but he talked about these are being used in Iraq, not Iraq, in Ukraine, and he showed the thing, and he put like a target downrange. He's got some place, looks like he lives on a farm or something like that, and he actually put something like on a table or something like that, and he fired this thing at it, and sure enough, this net comes out and goes around this, I can't remember what he had on the table, and knocks it off the table, and it's just, it's essentially wrapped up in this net. And I'm thinking to myself, holy cow. Now, think about this for a minute, okay? You can go, Joe Citizen can go to any sporting goods store and buy a decent shotgun for $400 or $500. Maybe you want to spend a little bit of money. You buy a Remington 870, or if you got some money, you buy a Benelli, which is made by the Beretta people.
We're tracking. Go ahead.
Which is a couple $1,000s. Okay, the shells. He said he paid $50 a shell for these things. Okay, couple $100 shotgun, $50 shell, and once again, you train the troops. You say, okay, and what you do is, especially if they're on a base, everybody walks around with a shotgun, with a shoulder hold, like with a sling over their shoulder. And they got, 5 or 6 of these, rounds. And if a drone starts, and you hear these things coming, they're not like they're silent.
Yeah, they're like a little buzzing thing.
Right.
If you live in the suburbs, you hear them all the time.
Right. You hear them coming, and everybody goes, drone, and everybody grabs their shotgun, and boom, 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 boom. I see.
That sounds like, first of all, it sounds like you should send that to Pete Hegseth. I'm sure nobody suggested that before.
I don't.
Also, have you considered incorporating this the next time someone comes on your property to excavate against your will? Could you get a slightly larger version of this and shoot it over the guy, your neighbor, who we once named on the show, but we won't name right now? Could you maybe capture him in a net?
Bob Lay, who used to be a nice guy. He was actually nice when I talked to him on the phone about this. My neighbor.
Well, he was very sad because his brother, Kenny Lay, went to jail for Enron.
Not the same guy. Okay, if you know what John's talking about, at my crap transmitter site, one day I show up. Well, first off, the day before I show up, the utility crews have marked the entire property, my property as well as his property. I'm going like, why did they mark my property? I didn't call it a locate for that. The next day I show up, there's a bulldozer there cutting through my property. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is this? So I go talk to the guy who's supervising. I go, what are you doing? And he walks away from me, wouldn't pay attention to me. I go, I got in front of him. I go, explain why your bulldozer is in my property, digging a 4-foot ditch in my property. So finally I got sick and tired of it. I called 911, and the cop shows up and he goes like, and I showed him. He says,
he was a deputy, wasn't he, Brad?
Yeah, the Warren County Sheriff's Department. And I showed him the property line is properly marked because, you know what, John? I am a purveyor of the purple paint law. Okay, you know about this, John? We've talked about this before.
Yeah. And you know what? If people want to sell you land but don't want you to do a hand survey, should you say yes or no, Brad?
Stake survey. Don't ever.
Stake survey. Yeah. Should you say yes or no, Brad?
You should say, if someone says, here's the map of the property, you say, go have the surveyor put the stakes in. I want to go walk the property lines. Trust me, anybody, I don't care if you're buying a little dinky house in Richmond Heights or Kirkwood or something like that. Trust me on this. So many people screw this up. I'm a guy that got duped by a next door neighbor. When I first bought my first house back in 1980, and the next door neighbor, before we bought the house, he moved the fence on the other side of a diseased tree, so it looked like the tree was my tree. And then when part of the tree fell and hit his house, I had to pay to fix his house. And then it happened again where part of the tree fell and hit his house. I had to pay again to fix his house. And then when I had a land surveyor come out and survey my property, it turned out the tree was his. And I confronted him, and he admitted, oh yeah, before you bought the house, I moved the fence, make it look like it's your property, your tree, because I didn't want to have to take it down because it was going to be expensive. It cost me $2,000 to take the stupid phone the tree down. Plus, I paid him, I think, $1,200 to get his house fixed twice.
You did, Brad. You told the story earlier this year. It's a fascinating one. Brad, I was just on the KRAP Wikipedia page. What is the point? Maybe this is for C Block. Here's a radio question I don't understand.
Okay.
What's the point of you having an AM radio station? Like, when you say you're at the crap transmitter site, what does your AM station do?
It provides AM frequencies on 1350 kilohertz.
Okay, yeah, I get that concept, but if I was right next to the transmitter and I had my radio station tuned to 1350, what would I hear?
You'd hear Westplex 107.1.
Okay, that's what is and I know that sometimes we don't do the best job one of us here doesn't do the best job of keeping Wikipedia updated, because this, of course, says that you're well, it has a lot of your sports logos and such on it. But so you would hear Westplex 107.1 on a 1350 AM frequency.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so you could hear a lot of good pop music on kind of a low quality AM signal is what you're saying.
Right. And at one point in time, some wacky dude who updates Wikipedia pages, actually was sort of funny. I left it on there for a long time because it was pretty funny. He said, we broadcast from a sewer north of the Missouri River on Highway 47.
That's funny.
That was on there for about a year. And I thought to myself, you know what? I like that. That's cute.
Just leave it on there.
Yeah, just leave it on. I don't care. It draws attention. Right, John? Okay, we have to take a break. We're way over it again. It's all John's fault.